We just made $10,500 in one day on OnlyFans. As you can see, January the 16th till January the 16th, total gross collected was $13,200. After OnlyFans fees, we were left with $10,500 in one day, in 24 hours. Now, if you're watching this and you're either an OnlyFans creator or you're an agency owner, you're gonna wanna make sure you pay attention in this video because I'm gonna walk you guys through exactly how we're able to generate these insane results. And to all the brand new viewers, by the way, I wanted to give you guys some quick context. So we're in the studio right now. This is where we work 24/7. We make these insane results. This is our little podcast studio as well. That right there is one of our plaques that we give to our creators and agencies who generate over $100,000 a month on OnlyFans. And as you can see at the bottom, it says Aura Consulting, and that's something that we can send to you guys as well. And this big old LED sign, yeah, it says Aura, that's our agency name. For everybody that's brand new. We've been doing this for a good couple of years. And also, I just wanted to, if you could pan in really quickly, I wanted to prove as well, because some people make up these different results and blah, blah. I just wanted to prove that this is all legit. So if I just go ahead and refresh this, just so you guys can see that this is all completely real, it's gonna completely reset so to a different date. So let me just go on here and I'm just gonna really quickly spam through it all just to go to the day's dates. Boom, apply. And as you can see, look, the results are there, right? Okay, so just before I walk you guys through exactly how we are able to get these incredible results and stand out from all of the other agencies, for everybody that's watching this that is a creator, whether male or female, and you are looking for an agency, just quickly wanted to explain the services that we provide and what makes us different from everybody else. So there are basically three things that we cover as an agency for you if you're a creator, right? Which is number one, the marketing, then the content, and then the actual OnlyFans management itself, and that's including chatting and posting and so on. So with the marketing, I have extensive experience when it comes to marketing. I built a marketing agency a couple of years ago. We help you get tons of new subscribers and flow into the actual OnlyFans account. With content, we give you tons and tons of ideas, so you don't have to think about content by yourself. You just simply follow the guidelines that we set for you, and you can create content on a daily basis. And then the OF side of it, the easiest way for you to imagine it is you don't have to log in and do anything with it. You can, of course, it's your account. You'd always have access to it, but we manage the entire thing for you. Posting, replying to messages, and generating an extra crazy amount of income. So talking about messages and generating you an extra income, let me walk you through exactly how and why we're able to get these crazy results. So of course, we're gonna start off with the chatting, as that's the main source, at least it should be the main source of income for yourself. So the first thing that we do for all of our models, we go ahead and set up 24-hour chatting coverage. Now, the thing that makes us different from everybody else, at least that I've spoken to, is the way we do it, right? So first of all, most agencies don't have 24-hour coverage. That's the first thing. Second of all, the way we do it, it isn't like just two chatters and one does 12 hours, the other one does 12 hours, which is what most people do. Now, the problem with that, you got to understand is if you get somebody to work for 12 hours straight, do you understand how tired they're going to be on the back end of, the last 6 hours probably, right? So we don't do that. We have 3 chatters. Of course, they do 8-hour shifts. And the biggest thing here is when one logs off and the other one logs on, they actually do an onboarding call. So an onboarding and offboarding call. And that's where they share invaluable information on who they need to follow up with, what are the conversations and where they essentially need to, pick up on, right? Now, whilst we're of course talking about the chatters as well, one thing, really important thing that I wanted to mention is of course the level of English that we actually have, the quality. Okay, so the most common thing that I always hear when models join our agency and they tell us all these horror stories that they've had with these previous agencies is, look, they set up chatters, sure, but they were just shit. And I asked them, what do you mean, etc. And then we go on to discover that, well, the chatters that they brought on board, like the previous agencies, they really didn't know how to speak English properly, right? So the grammar wasn't really there. There were spelling mistakes all the time and so on and so on. And to obviously explain why that's a big issue, I'm sure probably most of you guys can understand, but look, if you're doing the chatting yourself and then all of a sudden you get somebody on board who doesn't type like you at all, has spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes, well, your fans, they're going to understand, okay, I'm not talking to the model no more, unsubscribe, therefore your income plummets, and all of a sudden you're thinking, wait a minute, why am I giving these guys X percentage and I'm making less money? None of this makes sense. And I hear this all the time. So for us, one thing that we really, really pride ourselves on is the level of chatting, because that should be a massive proportion of your income. So one thing that we do, of course, we interview every single chatter. We make sure that we only hire the best of the best. But the biggest thing that we do, and again, I don't know anybody else that's really doing this, is a written English test. Especially like Philippines and other countries around the world, when you speak to somebody, they might sound even American, they might even sound British and so on. But the chatting is the most important thing. What is their grammar like? What is their spelling like? So we quite literally get them to do a written English test, and then we judge it based on that, whether we are going to hire them or not. Leading on from the previous conversation that we were just having, which is about getting chatters on board, but then making sure it's a seamless onboard where the chatters actually sound like you and there's no problems, right? One of the most important things that, again, we do is make sure all of our models fill out the model information sheet, right? Now, this is super simple, but it makes a massive difference. Now, this sheet is a series of questions, right? It's super simple questions, but these questions, once you answer them, if you're watching this as a model, once you answer all of these questions, we of course give these to all of our chatters, the free chatters that will probably be on your account. They will then have all the information they need in order to sound and answer questions just like yourself, right? So these would be questions, of course, like where are you from? Just public information that you've shared yourself, your interests, your favorite foods, your favorite color, things of that nature, right? Because again, what you don't want, and this again is just free value for anybody watching, whether you're an agency owner or you're a model, etc., right? What you don't want is to be speaking to your fans about one certain thing about your hobby. Let's just say your hobby is netball, for example, and then the chatters come on board, and the chatters are now talking to the same subscriber, and then the subscribers ask him, "Oh, how's your netball game?" And then the chatters are like, "Oh, I don't play netball." Right. All of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, you told me we were just speaking about it last week, it's your favorite hobby. So it's just a small little example, but this is huge. This makes a massive difference. And then whenever our chatters come on board, they seamlessly sound and act and respond just like you would, ensuring that they're able to have that relationship with the subscribers even better. Now, as a little side note, if you want the model information sheet, all you have to do is just message me on Instagram here at Marcus Hustle. Just drop me a message on Instagram. I'll go ahead and send it over to you. So with all of that out of the way, let's now go into the actual nitty-gritty, the exact practical things that we do on a daily basis to get these crazy results. First things first, we'll start with the ladder, the price ladder, right? So this is the biggest problem that I see all the time, again, with these creators when they come to me and we take them on and we start managing them, and then they tell us again these horror stories of their previous management agency where they would just send out mass messages every single day, multiple times, of like $25 and just try and sell videos that were pre-made 2 years ago, right? Guys, please don't do this. So what you want to do instead is you want to essentially build that relationship, right? Build an online relationship, starting to understand who are the subscribers, getting to know them, build that connection, and then slowly but surely increase the price. Now, I won't go into the exact, of course, how much to price it, what is it, and so on. Now, again, if you're interested and you're a model, we could potentially take you on. So again, if you're interested, all you have to do is reach out to me on Instagram. But to give you a bit of an idea, you first start a bit of a conversation, build that rapport, get to understand who they are, what are they interested in, etc. Then try and sell something that's really, really cheap. Maybe it's $4.99, right? Maybe it's $5. Then you go to 10, then you go to 25, and so on and so on. Hopefully you're starting to understand, right? And before you know it, each subscriber has spent $300, right, in one night. And as you can imagine, if you have hundreds of subscribers every single night, that tends to add up. So that's the first thing. So then the second thing is super important, is making sure that the chatters, making the sub feel like they're actually chatting in real time, right, with the actual creator themselves. So what do I mean by this? So one obvious one is, for example, one of our creators, and actually now I think 3 of them, do Twitch streaming, right? So like live streams, etc. Now, obviously, I feel like I probably don't need to say this, but if your creator is streaming on Twitch, then there shouldn't be any chatting happening on the account, because again, hopefully I don't have to explain this, but you can put the 2 and 2 together. If the model is live streaming on Twitch and she is replying on OF, the subscriber's gonna be like, wait a minute, I'm not even talking to the girl, unsubscribe. So you get what I'm trying to say, right? So with the chatting, you wanna make sure that it's real in the time. And another example, so if your chatters are talking to the subscriber back and forth, it's these little things that make a massive difference. If you are going to send a 2 or a 5 minute video, let's just say it's a 5-minute video, right? And you're chatting back and forth. If the message was at 2:30 a.m. and it's a 5-minute video and you say, okay, I'm just about to make this video for you, but you send it at 2:31 and it's a 5-minute video, how can you record a 5-minute video in 1 minute? That doesn't make any sense. It's all these tiny little things that make a massive difference. Now, the next thing that I need you all to understand, and this is super important as well, and this is something that we do, of course, across all of our creators. which is categorizing the actual fans themselves and the subscribers, right? There are so many different ways how you can categorize them. So for example, one would be how much they spend, another one could be their interests and their fetishes and so on, right? So I'm not going to go through all of them, but there is a specific way that we train all of our chatters. Again, this is what I mean by when we train them, we onboard them, etc., on how to categorize them the right way. Now, first of all, I'm going to explain why that's important, and then second of all, I'll give you a bit of an idea on how to kind of categorize them. So first of all, why should you do it? So first things first, let's talk about spenders first, right? So somebody who spends a lot more than somebody else, that you do need to prioritize on how much energy and time are you putting into each subscriber, okay? So there's no point speaking to somebody back and forth for hours or minutes or potentially up to hours if they are not going to spend nothing, or if they only have spent $5 compared to somebody, another subscriber who's already spent 1.5 thousand this month. Then you probably want to put more effort into him, right? So that's first of all, you want to categorize these subscribers based on the spending. So that's about how much they're spending. The other thing, of course, like I said, is their interests, their fetishes, and so on. Look, I'm gonna try and keep this as just straightforward as I can, right? We're talking about fucking OnlyFans here. So let me just be straight out with you. If you just find out what the guy wants and you just send him that content and he buys it, then you send him it again, he buys it again. Well, cool, you figured out this is his fetish and this is what he likes, and you just keep sending him more and more of that same content, just in a different angle, different bone, whatever. You get what I'm trying to say? Rather than try to send everybody a bit of everything and the odd person buys here and there. Like, don't do that. Again, this takes a lot of fucking effort. This is why we pay our chatters a lot of money, because there's a lot of back and forth and you really have to understand each chatter and then categorize them and so on and so on. But the point is that if you figure out who understands what, and then you only send them that particular bit of content, you don't send everybody the same thing, then therefore you're able to make a lot more money. Like I said, that is basically why you need to do it. The second thing is how, I've kind of explained it already. So there's loads of different categories on how to categorize the actual fans and subscribers, and I've given you some there already, right? So one is, of course, the type of fetishes that they're into. One could be, of course, how much they're spending. You could have a bunch, and also you want to make sure you change like the nicknames or the big spenders, maybe add an emoji. Guys, like, I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible because there are so many things. We've been doing this for about 3 years now. We've categorized and we've automated and delegated so many different parts of the business. I'm going to try and just condense as much information in this one video as quickly as possible. Now, last but not least, what makes this entire thing work just absolutely incredibly consistently, that's the key here, consistently over a long period of time, is the team, right? We have an incredible team. This entire office wasn't cheap to put together. So we have an entire team all around the world that do a bit of everything. So we have, again, right now in this video, we particularly have just mainly focused on the chatting side of it, because like I said, that should be a massive portion of it. But of course, you've got also the marketing, you've got the content, you've got the distribution, the editing, the collaborations. There are so many different things, right? One specific one that I wanted to speak about here, which is also relating to the chatting, is of course the chatter manager, right? So like I said, if we are going to get you 24-hour coverage on your account, that means we are going to get free chatters on the account. And yes, we train them on how to kind of offload the information onto the next one, and they kind of do it themselves. We still need a manager, right? Because I don't want you to have to, call every single one of them every single day, every single 8 hours. So what we do is we hire a chatter manager, and that's his job. His job is quite literally to be on that onboarding call, making sure that all the invaluable information is being relayed over. That's the first thing. Second of all, of course, keeping a check of the chatters. When are they logging in? When are they logging out? How many messages are they sending? How many pay-per-views are they sending? How much cash are they cash collecting these 8 hours compared to the last 8 hours, and so on and so on. So this again is another person that we hire to make sure this entire system works amazingly consistently. So with all of that being said, again, I'd like to just please remind you that in this particular video, we've just covered one tiny bit, which is just the messages, right? And there are so many other different parts, but if you just do the messages correctly and you do it exactly how we do it, there's a bit of a context. So this is a model we've just taken on. So before we took her on, have a guess on where we took her on. But before we took her on, specifically with just the messages, she was doing around $260, as you guys can see here. 600, so 260, blah, blah. And within the first 24 hours, Cash collected 9.4 thousand within the first day when we took her on. So guys, so that being said, we most likely have a spot for yourself. At least we're interested in jumping on a call with yourself to speak with you further on how we could maybe work together or at least give you some advice. So if you're interested, again, my Instagram should be somewhere on the screen here at Marcus Hustle. Just to give you guys a bit of a heads up as well, there are so many fake accounts. So make sure it's spelled exactly like it is right here. This is the only Instagram account that I have, okay? So make sure you message me on here. I'll get back to you. And who knows, maybe we can scale you to similar numbers or even more in 2024. So I wish you all the best, and who knows, maybe we can get to speak very, very soon. All the best.